Everybody, it's Megan Dooley here. I'm an occupational therapist, and today I'm going to talk to you about helping your loved one with dementia get around their environment, or in other terms, maintain their mobility for as long as possible throughout the disease progression. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some different tips and tricks to help your loved one get around or continue walking as long as possible, but also to talk to you about different strategies to use that might be different than what you're thinking or what you have tried already with your loved one when that mobility starts to decrease or decline and they're not as safe, they're not as balanced, and they're not able to walk as far as they maybe previously were. So one of the first things I really want to stress in this area is that if you're starting to notice that your loved one is struggling with their balance, their strength, they're not as coordinated with their movement, so getting up and down out of a chair, I really encourage you to contact a professional and get a PT eval and OT eval. Talk to your doctor about that, because the sooner you can start getting that strength back or maintaining that strength or endurance coordination is going to be very important for somebody with dementia. Why is that? We should all do that. We should all try to maintain our strength and coordination and things. But for somebody with dementia, it's a little different in that it's much harder to give them a walker or a cane or a piece of equipment to use should they not be able to get around as easily. So the important thing is establishing a good routine for education or for exercise. So a balance program, a strengthening program, and you could go get this at your local gym. If you see a PT or an OT, you may get this for home exercises. But once you have those exercises or that gym that you choose to go to, make sure that you set up that routine with your loved one that has dementia at the same time every day. So as the disease progresses, it hopefully becomes a part of that procedural memory or that automatic memory, and your loved one will continue to do those exercises longer because you have put it into more of an automatic memory for them. So that is very important early on for somebody with dementia. Find a good routine for them and really hone in on that balance, core strength. They don't have to be super muscular or ripped, but the strength in our quads, in our hamstrings, our core, our back, so that they are able to get up and down from a chair. They're able to walk on even or uneven surfaces and navigate stairs, maybe getting out of the shower. So if you or your loved one has just recently been diagnosed with dementia, get yourself on that plan right away so that that's something, because as the disease progresses, it is very difficult for somebody with dementia to recall how to use a piece of equipment. So we kind of want to think about that person's journey with dementia as going backwards in time. If your loved one has been using a walker or a cane 5 years before their dementia diagnosis, 10 years before the dementia diagnosis, you may have a better success with them continuing to automatically use that piece of equipment. But if you're seeing the decline in their functional abilities during the time that they have been diagnosed with dementia, it's going to be very difficult for them to learn that new skill and then safely carry it over. So that piece of equipment, although meant to be given to them to increase safety for balance and falls, we actually are going to probably increase the likelihood that they're going to trip or misuse that piece of equipment. So a cane will just get drug along or left behind. A walker, often put in front of somebody with more severe dementia, is going to walk right through that walker. The walker will tip and they will trip over it. So the option really is to, or the best option would be to really get that person started on an exercise program to maintain what they have. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to have those abilities even if you give them an exercise program or work with them to maintain some good strengths and things like that, because this disease does come with a progression and a decline in motor function. So what else can you do? We've talked in the other videos about, first we want to look at that person, all of their abilities, their capabilities, and maintaining those as long as possible. But when you can't then we need to look at modifying your environment or your home. So I'm just going to show you a couple options to do that, and some that are very inexpensive. You can go, and get a complete home remodel or move into a more accessible facility. But if you're at home and you're just noticing that they're, stopping halfway down the hallway or they're kind of unsteady, I'm just going to show you a couple of things that could really help them continue to be as mobile as possible, for many reasons. One, once somebody's in a wheelchair, it is going to be more difficult to get them around your home, especially if your home is not wheelchair accessible. So now you have to look at changing a bathroom, a bedroom, a hallway, your kitchen area to get around the tables. But also a wheelchair tends to confine somebody more, and then you will see that that individual isn't moving as much. So I'm going to just share with you my screen of a couple items, a couple ideas here. So the first thing I want to show you is this top picture. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. This first picture right here at the top is looking at a stairwell. The thing I really want to show you, two things. One is the great contrasting color of this grab bar or this railing that was put in. It is contrasting from the wall color, which will really help your loved one see it as they're navigating those stairs, which is very important because as we age, and as somebody with dementia progresses through the disease, their ability for depth perception and contrast recognition really decreases. And so this is a good way to help visually stimulate them to see that item and reach for it. The nice thing with it being continuous is that there's not going to be any moment where that individual isn't able to hang on to it. So they're not stopping halfway down the stairs. Some of you may have stairs where you get almost to the bottom of the stairs and the last two stairs does not have a railing. That can cause unsafe situation for them, or it also could cause them to reach forward for that next piece of the railing that might be around the corner, and cause them to throw themselves off balance. So this is a great example of something you could do down your stairwell. The next example is of of a hallway. And I really like this picture because it shows how you can make your hallway still beautiful and your home look very warm and inviting. And it doesn't say, okay, I had to add this bright gray, silver, metal-y grab bar for my loved one, and now I'm not very happy with my hallway. This is a great example of a beautiful railing that was put in. And the nice thing here, again, it's not as contrasting as the last picture, but the nice thing here is it's a hallway. It's not as dangerous of a environment as the stairs, and a hallway is much smaller spaced, more narrow, and so hopefully that individual just naturally finds that placement as they're walking, and it's a great addition to help keep them safe and a way to balance. So the other thing I like about this picture is at the end of the hall, you can see that there is a chair. That is very important to find some places within your home that you can place items for your loved one to sit on, whether it's a folding chair. This looks like a nice little decorative folding chair, a bench, because as the disease progresses, again, your loved one's going to lose some of their endurance, some of their ability to navigate and actually move their body. And so this allows them not only a visual of somewhere that they can sit and rest, but also gives you an opportunity to have items close by should they get fatigued or want to sit down. So it still looks beautiful, but it's strategically placed. I'm sure at the end of this hallway, you would have to go past the stairs through some more doors to maybe a kitchen or a dining room, and that is a long distance for that individual. So think about placing items around your living area that they can sit on. The other thing I want you to take note of is that there's no throw rugs, runners, or anything in this hallway. Yes, that makes for a very loud, echoey echoey hallway at times, but for somebody with dementia, it really allows a clean floor for them to not get distracted by. So sometimes carpets, rugs, not only are they a tripping hazard for somebody who doesn't pick their feet up very well, but also it can be very distracting if there's any patterns to that rug. And that can cause the individual to get distracted, be looking down, be worried about stepping over it or around that item. So trying to eliminate a lot of throw rugs, patterns in your floor. If you're going to put new flooring in, I don't suggest getting a beautiful pattern tile or a heavily, a lot of texture to the flooring. I actually had a client who thought that there was bugs on the floor and would go around trying to smash all the bugs, but in reality, it was truly the knots in the floor. And is that, you know, a fall risk or anything like that? It maybe isn't, but it's distracting. And as this disease progresses, that individual really needs to be able to focus on one component of a task at a time, whether that's simply walking, getting into the bathroom, or whatever that may be. So get rid of some of those throw rugs and maybe add, you know, your little touch of flair in other ways around your home. The next thing I want to show you here is the contrasting on stairwells. This can be easily or cheaply done by putting, you know, some tape or a colored strip on your stairs, so you don't have to go and have somebody completely redo your steps. You may be able to just simply paint them. The thing that you want to get away from this or take away from this is that the depth perception and color contrast for somebody with dementia starts to diminish. So if there isn't that little bit of stripping to signify the end of the step, they may fall down the stairs, fall going up them, may not even want to navigate them because they can't see where their foot is supposed to go. So this is very, very important and crucial to make sure that you add these to your stairs if your loved one has to navigate stairs outside, inside. Outside, it's great to put the ones with a little bit of grip to them for your shoes. But again, you can do this very inexpensively or very expensively. The one thing I do want to recommend or discuss is something like this. So this is cement and they painted on kind of like what would be a carpet runner on wood stairs. Now, pretty cool. In this picture, you can see that there's no defining line for each step, so that can be a problem. The other thing is that this edging is not really where the stair ends, and that could be a little scary for that individual if you're walking next to them and you're trying to help them get up the stairs, or you're just there for comfort or safety and you're asking them to step outside of that pattern. That may feel like they're going to fall or they're not comfortable with it. So adding something like this or a carpet runner to your stairs would not be the best option. It's a different texture. It also does not help to separate that line. If you choose to add things to each step, or you have things on each step, just really look at them and see how much pattern there is to that, you know, piece of carpet or different tiling or whatever you did along your stairs, and determine, you know, if you feel, or if you have questions about that, if it's going to be too much or too busy for that individual. So stairs are very important, but there are some easy ways to help change that. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is just some strategies for helping that individual be able to move or navigate. One really important thing is, as the disease progresses, like I had said about wanting them to focus on one thing. So if that individual is up and moving, or you've gotten them up and moving, don't try to hold a conversation with them. Keep your cues very short. We're going to the chair, or yep, take a left, or turn here. You don't want to pull or tug on your loved one, but having a guiding hand to kind of direct them the direction they're to go is helpful. Giving them cues if they are kind of stuck or frozen, making it very goal oriented. So we're going to have a snack, sit in the chair. Okay, let's go to your recliner to watch TV. Some of those encouraging cues to get them up and moving, or to have them sit down, wherever that may be. The other thing to really look at is good lighting. Make sure that you have night lights that can illuminate the floor area. That will help eliminate shadowing that could really cause an individual with dementia to get confused or get a little scared, or maybe not see that pair of shoes that are sitting right by the door and tripping, seeing that the door is half open or half closed or whatever. So good lighting is very important, especially in hallways and by stairs. So they have those great motion sensor lights now that can be very helpful with that. This goes for outside as well. So I know as somebody with dementia, as that disease progresses, they may not be going outside as often, but even to get into the car or navigating stairs in your garage, make sure that there's some handrails, clear definition of those steps, and then also good lighting. You may want to go and talk to somebody about home modifications and getting more things put in a ramp, maybe widening stairs or widening a doorway or things like that. But this is just some tips initially to really help you get started with this if you're starting to see some of those concerns. Because just like I talked about with eating, you really want to avoid that secondary complication. And when it comes to mobility for an individual with dementia, there's a high risk of them falling and breaking a hip, suffering a traumatic brain injury, breaking their back, their neck, breaking their wrist. And the difficulties with that is that once that injury occurs, it's now another new thing that comes with restrictions and rules that they're not going to understand. And it can make that healing process very difficult. And it can also make rehab very difficult, as they don't understand why they're supposed to be doing a certain exercise or standing up a certain way, or maybe not putting weight on that leg. So again, one of the first things I would really recommend is getting into some sort of an exercise routine that includes balance, coordination, and just overall strength from our core, back, all of those things. And then contacting somebody if you are noticing some of these declines and difficulties with getting that person to move around like you want. Because this is going to definitely be something that you're going to see long-term over the course of the disease. As always, caregivers, you are appreciated, loved, and we thank you for all that you do for your person with dementia, and I hope you have a great day. Please, if you have questions, email me. The email is on my business page or also on the YouTube channel underneath the video. Have a great day.